I need this.
It hurt.
You think that was from the?
It hurt. All I know is it hurt so bad. I was like, ow.
Ooh, so it cut you.
Yes, it was stuck through my pants. That's why I was like, I'm awkwardly like digging in my crotch right now.
Gosh. All right, let's see if I can make this better view for everybody. No. There we go. That's better. You know what would be really excellent right now?
Cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
I know. And guess what I made? And guess what I drink all of? I did. I made some about
Post-production.
I know. Make more when I get home. Because there's probably enough in that pot that we each could have got some. Actually, didn't think about it.
Do we have everything we need?
Yeah.
Post.
Okay. Ooh, I went and got breakfast again this morning down there.
Mickey D's?
No, I'm never getting breakfast anywhere
at
else
the gas
again.
station.
I'm telling you, man, you gotta have it.
Oh shoot. My notes.
Oh. Would you leave one?
My notes out here.
I haven't seen that, but that's
Sorry. Let's see.
Did you find that?
No.
Did you take them with you to the bathroom?
Here they are.
You're driving me crazy. Oh, shit.
Oh, it's time.
It's time.
10
once
seconds.
again
For everybody to come aboard the whole train.
Okay.
It's time.
We are Radio Lex, WLXU 93.9 LP-FM, Lexington, Kentucky.
Did she say?
The views expressed
Radio?
on this program are not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio. or
Hey,
its
Wade, what's going
directors.
on?
The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to us on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can download the Radio Lex app on your smartphone device to listen to us anywhere in the entire world. Amber Turner and I are both broadcasting from the Deborah Hensley Studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. Amber, it is July the 15th, 2021. A lot, believe it or not, has happened on this day in history, July the 15th. Did you know that?
Well, I can already tell you July 15th ain't going to be my favorite day. It's not been a good day today.
Well, July 15th, well, why hasn't it been a good day?
Well, sometimes I think God gives you signs that maybe you ain't just supposed to do something. So I know you have your real ID, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. I had to cancel my appointment yesterday to go get mine. Do you know right now, to get a real ID in Lexington, you're going to have to wait a month?
Is a real ID, like, does that mean that you're going after trying to get, like, flying rights and things like that?
My driver's license is expired. That's it. And so, yeah, you got to wait a month. And then, on the drive over, we about got hit. So I'm thinking that God's telling me I don't need to drive anymore.
You don't like July 15th?
I don't need to drive anymore.
Well, July 15th is a day that a lot has happened on this day. Mm-hmm. On this day, July 15th, on this day, Amber, in 1888, that is July the 15th. 1888, that's a long time ago. It's 2021. How many years ago was that?
I'm not mathing.
That's a long time ago. Printer's ink was first sold.
Well,
that's the first time that computers used ink. Now, I use computer ink all the time. I print off the show notes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Wait, in 1888?
Yeah, in 1888, they were able to print off things.
Oh, no, not like print off things. They made ink. They could make copies of things.
It says printer's ink was first sold.
You're thinking maybe a little more like a newspaper printer, not like a computer printer. Yeah, because I'm like, wait, they didn't even have computers.
So what did they use ink for in the 1800s? I guess feathers.
No.
Feathers to write.
They used to use presses where they would print out, mass copies of the newspaper. They would make books, so stuff like that. That's what they use this ink for.
But you know what I'm talking about when I say they dipped a feather into a pen and wrote with
it. Yeah, but I think it might actually even be a different kind of ink.
On this day, in 1968.
Okay.
Also a long time ago.
Modern day, though.
ABC TV premiered One Life to Live.
Okay.
Yes. More than 43 years ago, okay? Or more than 43 years that show ran from July 15th, 1968 to January 13th, 2012. And then it became a web series on Hulu and iTunes for a couple of months. Did you know that?
Well, what's the point in calling it One Life to Live if they brought it back for redemption?
No, Two Lives to Live.
Yeah.
In 2006, on this day, the social networking service Twitter was launched.
Gross.
Twitter. I know you don't have Twitter.
No, it's gross.
I don't know why you say that. I like Twitter. I think out of all of the social media platforms out there, it's the less gross. I think that
every time I've gotten it, I get hacked. Every time. Like, get y'all stuff together.
Twitter was created by Jack Dorsey, Noah Glass, Biz Stone, and Evan Williams in March of 2006, but it was launched. You know the date it was launched?
July 15th.
July 15th, 2006. 15 years. So I guess today would be Twitter's 15th birthday.
Well, at least it's finally acting its age.
Well, I got Twitter in 2009. So Twitter really hadn't been around a long time. What I thought was really cool about Twitter when I first got it was how easy you could connect with people.
Yeah.
Connect with people from all over the world. You could send a direct message to Madonna if you wanted to. You know, if you wanted to send
I would love to see some of those messages.
If you wanted to send a direct message to Michael Jordan, you could, if they had Twitter. And that was the first time anything like that had ever existed, where you could actually send a direct message to the actual person with the account.
Now, you can't do that anymore, though, can you?
Sure you can.
Still?
If they have it in their settings that you can send them a message, you can. Now, a lot of celebrities will set it up to where you can't send them direct messages, but it gives you the option to. And nothing like that had ever been out there until Twitter happened. Hashtags. Think about hashtags.
I love hashtags.
Well, hashtags started from Twitter.
Well, still ain't gonna get it.
It bled over to a lot of other social medias, Instagram, Facebook, but Twitter is where it started. A hashtag, for those who don't know, is a word or phrase preceded by a hash sign. You know, the hash sign on the telephone, used on social media websites and applications, especially Twitter, to identify digital content on a specific topic. Some of the most famous hashtags that were used on Twitter were two I can think of: Black Lives Matter and Me Too. Those two hashtags turned into movements, and it blew up to where everybody was posting something with those hashtags.
Yeah.
So hashtags were very, very popular, and because of Twitter, it caused hashtags to blow up. Twitter took off, though, in 2009, right when I got it, and it wasn't because Adam Banks got it.
Oh, no.
But it did take off in 2009 after the Hudson plane incident. Do you remember the Hudson?
When they landed in the Hudson.
Yes, that happened in early 2009, January, as a matter of fact. There was a woman named Janice Crum. She was taking a ferry to New Jersey when well, it says here that Janice is a man, so I don't know who names their son Janice, but Janice snapped a photo of the plane in the water and shared it with his 170 Twitter followers. And all of a sudden, he started getting calls from all over the world, from news stations, CNN, CBS, ABC, World News, asking if they could share his photo. And he didn't realize that that's how powerful Twitter was. And a lot of news stories, they get their messages and they get their photos from Twitter, because everybody has a photo at their or a phone at their fingertips. Think about, it's very rare when there's a situation that happens and somebody didn't record it and post it on social media.
Absolutely.
That's how news outlets get all this amazing footage, because it usually comes from somebody's cell phone. But there are some changes coming to Twitter. Over the last year, the company has significantly expanded the way people can use Twitter and how they can communicate. They are adding in stories just like Instagram and Facebook that disappear after 24 hours. It added voice tweets, and it started experimenting with Spaces, which is a Clubhouse-style feature for real-time audio chats, kind of like a walkie-talkie.
All I want to know is, am I going to be able to make a new account and someone is not going to be able to hack me within the first 10 minutes and post something about 10% off Ray-Bans? Because that's literally all my Twitter feed ever used to be, 10% off Ray-Bans.
What's really been cool about Twitter is they have a limit on how many words that you could type in a tweet.
Yeah.
And that keeps people from ranting, and it usually it makes people think more about what they're going to type, because you really have to be inclusive about what you type. You got to be selective.
Yeah, but don't you think that's aiding into people don't know how to spell normal words now? Because you're so
Could
quick.
be.
Yeah, you're trying to abbreviate them. I'm like, baby, that ain't the abbreviation for that word.
Could be. A lot of big famous moments happen from Twitter. Donald Trump really, I think, took Twitter to a whole new level. Twitter was already famous, but Donald Trump, when the president of the United States is using it, that's a pretty popular person using your platform. He got banned from Twitter. He used it so much and caused so much negativity on Twitter, they actually banned him from the platform. Nobody had ever been banned before like that, except Donald Trump.
Well, that's what he gets for. Didn't he used to go through there and block people all the time?
He did.
Well, Twitter blocked him permanently.
I don't know how that's... If he runs for president, wouldn't they have to... If he runs again for president, wouldn't they have to allow him to have that social media platform? Because doesn't that violate the Fair Media Act for every candidate having the same fair chance at the media?
I mean, but was he or was he not in the last few weeks of his office? Didn't they already kind of remove him from it before, he was even elected out of office? Didn't they suspend, I think, all of his accounts?
Before he was
completely...
Yeah, because it happened right after that big attack on the Capitol.
Yes.
Well, a lot of big Twitter things have happened throughout the year. My favorite Twitter moment was definitely when Hulk Hogan accidentally posted a photo with Bam from Jackass. And he says, he wrote...
I do know this.
He wrote, I sure would... he goes, the message was, dang, Bam, I wish you was still here. I sure would love to hang out again, brother. And then right after he tweeted that, Bam tweeted back and said... He said, I love you too, Hulk. I'm right here. I'd love to hang soon, too. And he got that mixed up with that Ryan Dunn fella from Jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks to snapshots, that tweet has been immortalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Hulk Hogan. He gets a lot of things immortalized on the internet.
He does. A lot. Also, one of my favorite Twitter moments was when Ted Cruz accidentally liked a porn page on his Twitter account.
Oh, wow.
And, everything that you like on Twitter, Amber, there's a like button and you can see what you like.
Yeah.
Everybody can see what you've liked throughout your time using Twitter.
Yeah.
So if you like porn, people are going to be able to see that you liked it.
I don't want to see stuff like that.
And the thing is like, to be fair, there are spam porn accounts that pop up on Twitter, but it's still funny. that it was on there for a long time and he didn't even realize it.
Oh, wow.
He didn't even realize it. Currently, Twitter has 330 million monthly active users, and I'm sure it's only going to grow more and more. But ladies and gentlemen, we got lots more Off the Cuff coming at you live after these words. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Joey Truax of the Best Part Hip Hop 101, and you are listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 FM, LPFM, Lexington.
Are you being threatened with eviction because of COVID-19? Is your landlord being uncooperative with filing for relief funds? The Lexington Human Rights Commission can help. We investigate discrimination claims, and there is no fee for our services. If you have a discrimination complaint, you can file it online at lexhumanrights.org or call us at 252-4931.
Hey Lexington, why won't you get the safe, effective COVID-19 vaccine?
I'll do it for my
I still have a huge like buzz sound coming through on mine.
I'll do it for Saturdays.
I'll do it for race days. I'll do it for my students. I'll do it
Unless
for
it's the
music.
iPad, but
I mean, it ain't bad
Let's
enough to
do
do all
this.
that.
When it's your turn, get vaccinated against COVID-19.
is this really not working again? Just run
Are you
off.
being threatened with eviction because of COVID-19? Is your landlord being uncooperative with filing for relief funds? The Lexington Human Rights Commission can help. We investigate discrimination claims, and there is no fee for our services. If you have a discrimination complaint, you can
Is it
file
raining?
it online
It's
at
pouring the rain.
Pouring the rain.
lexhumanrights.org
now.
or call us at 252-4931.
Did you roll up your windows?
I don't roll down my windows.
Not even during the song of the week.
Not even during the song of the week.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber Turner is also in studio with me. When you hear music like that, it gets you excited because you know you're about to hear some big news. That's breaking news music right there. Very newsy, isn't it?
Well, I feel like it's going to be like the 5 o'clock entertainment section of the news coming on.
Longtime anchor Bill Bryant will succeed Sam Dick at the helm of WKYT's evening newscast later this year. WKYT, I would say it's Lexington's, I would say it's Kentucky's #1 news station. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I think Mama and Papa are the ones that watch WKYT, and whoever Mama and Papa watches, that's usually your #1 when it comes to news.
Exactly.
So Bill Bryant will be the main man. He'll be the main anchor at WKYT. He'll be replacing Sam Dick. And what's bizarre about that entire thing is I thought that Bill Bryant was the main man at WKYT already. I thought he was the face that everybody knew.
When you told me that, you know, because I briefly get to know what we're going to talk about, when you said that, I was like, wait. I thought, wait, Sam Dick is replacing Bill Bryant. I really thought I wrote it down wrong on my little notes, but no.
After Sam Dick retires at the end of November, Bill Bryant will join WKYT's award-winning evening anchor team of Amber Philpott, Chris Bailey, and Brian Milam. Bill Bryant came to WKYT in 1984 as an intern and never left. Over the past 37 years, he's been a guiding editorial voice as a reporter, anchor, and leader for WKYT. So with Bill Bryant's promotion, WKYT will maintain its long-standing tradition of each evening anchor being a Kentucky native. So every anchor at WKYT, every main anchor has been a Kentucky native.
Now that is actually a cool, fun fact.
And nobody's got a more recognizable voice than Bill Bryant.
Exactly. That's why I agree with you. I really thought Bill Bryant was the man.
And this is Kentucky News here on Newsmaker WKYT and CBS. This is Lexington's #1. That's my Bill Bryant. That's all I got. That's all I got. But I love news anchors. I think news anchors just have a really cool job. They get to be on TV every day. You're somewhat of a celebrity.
Well, yeah, you have to be.
You get, I mean, and you are the face of your community, of your state. Bill Bryant, I'm very excited to have him take over that role. I was always looking for a newscast to watch on TV in Lexington, and it's hard to find one. There's a lot of bad news anchors out there in Lexington.
Well,
And I'm glad that I now can tune in and listen to a really, really good one, and that's Bill Bryant at night. Because I don't really watch the news during the day. I need nighttime news.
exactly. Well, we grew up on that. We grew up on you get your news either first thing in the morning or at night. Back home we definitely had a great station to watch, but I might have to check out WKYT now.
Well, there have been, it's without news anchors, how else would we get our news? And yes, social media has taken away a lot of the jobs of news anchors, but I still like the authentic
getting the facts,
getting the unbiased opinion of just a good old-fashioned news anchor. And it made me start thinking about all of the past famous breaking news announcements throughout the years, Amber.
Yeah.
There's been a lot.
I would say.
A lot that we have been alive for and a lot we haven't been alive for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that broke and the first person you heard it from was a news anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And I have compiled a list
Oh, word.
for those at home and for you, Amber, because you never know what I'm going to play on here,
No.
of some of the most famous breaking news announcements
Okay.
throughout the years by different news anchors. Now, this first one that I'm going to play is one of the most famous calls of a news anchor. It was from Mr. Walter Cronkite.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I believe Walter was NBC News. And back in the day, there was only 3 big stations, ABC, CBS, NBC, and they all had one news show a day.
Yeah.
And those 3 anchors, whoever was the anchor for those stations, is all you heard.
Yeah.
So Walter Cronkite was a pretty famous man in America.
Absolutely.
And he gave one of the most famous breaking news announcements of all time. This is the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Now, let me take you back to that day, okay? It was in November of 1963 in Dallas, Texas. It was just a normal day. A soap opera was playing, as a matter of fact. Yes. And this CBS News Bulletin interrupted the soap opera. Take a listen. Okay, and that was a bulletin. And a bulletin is, there's no TV, it's just a, kind of like a
This is
bulletin
all we
board.
know.
It's a
This is all
bulletin
we know.
board. It's just like a still shot saying this is what's happened.
Yep.
Because they didn't have time to get a camera in there and everything. Well, about an hour later, after that bulletin, this is the famous call from Walter Cronkite. If you guys have a chance to go back and watch that announcement on YouTube and just see the visual, I suggest you do that because you could tell in his voice he got choked up after he said Kennedy had died.
Well, yeah.
And he took his glasses off because he was about to break down. And when he said Lyndon B. Johnson is about to take office, he got choked up in his voice, and you could hear that. Because you got to think, like, that was the president of the United States, and that was back when America was America. Here's another famous call. This is, of course, when man walked on moon. People were glued to their TV set around their family watching this moment, Amber. Big moment. All right, here's another one. Elvis Presley, the death of the King of Rock. My goodness. You got to think about that. At the time, Elvis Presley was the biggest star in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about breaking news right there.
Mm-mm.
Here's another one, and this is something you might remember because we were alive during this breaking news moment. The death of Michael Jackson.
And we're just getting this in right now, and it's very, very sad news that Jim Moran, to all of our viewers, both the Los Angeles Times and CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson has died. CNN has not confirmed that, but the LA Times and CBS News are reporting that Michael Jackson, 50 years old, the king of pop, has died. A very, very sad moment.
Can you believe that?
I remember that,
I do remember that, and that broadcast that I played was what I was actually watching, and that's why I put up that one. I remember Wolf Blitzer giving that call. You know, and you never know when breaking news is going to happen. You never know when it's going to come about because it could happen at any time in the day.
Oh, we know all about that.
You might not have your main anchor on the air when breaking news happens.
Mm-mm.
So you never know who gets to call the breaking news story. Here is another one. This is the death of Kobe Bryant. You know, and I think about people who heard the news for the first time watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of times people hear news for the first time just watching it like that.
Well, I mean, I guess with a Kobe, though, it's usually people just scrolling on Facebook now. Because, you know, a lot of the news stations post that. I think that's actually where I saw Kobe Bryant was one of our local news stations did their own breaking, but it was a live video.
Mm-hmm. Yes, okay, here is another one. And this one, I don't remember it, but it was a big story. This is when Magic Johnson was diagnosed with HIV in 1991. And back in 1991, getting HIV
Was a death sentence.
was a death sentence. And the dazzling career of one of the most amazing athletes in the world career was over. The news back then was hard to absorb, even as they reported it. And the thought of somebody like Magic getting HIV was just out of this world. It was impossible. Somebody like Magic Johnson don't get HIV. He's an athlete.
Put it in everybody's house. You know, back in the day, you know, especially at that time, that was something you didn't talk about. So that lady was literally coming right into your house, and she was bringing you something that, you know, we had tried so hard to fight. You know, we put it in, oh, that only happens in big cities. That only happens to certain genres of people. And then this lady got to come on and tell us, wait, it can happen to everybody.
And in the early 90s, everybody just thought it happened to gay people.
Exactly.
It was the gay disease is what people called it. It was the gay cancer
Yes.
is what people called it. And when Magic Johnson was diagnosed with it in 1991, people were like, you mean straight people can get it
Everybody
too?
can get it? Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know how Magic got it, and I don't honestly, I don't care. That's however he lived his life was his life. But here is another one which we were alive for. We were together during this breaking news moment. This was, of course, September 11th, 2001. 20 years ago this September. Hard to believe it's been that long. And this is our most recent large breaking news story. Of course, COVID-19 entering the United States. Let's take a listen. Wow. So just the thought of that.
That gives me a little PTSD.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary.
How quickly lives change when breaking news hits.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changes in an instant.
I might have one more.
Okay.
I might have one more, and I hope this is what I think it is. Let's take a listen.
For 300 million Europeans.
No, it's not. I thought I had the newscast of the Bin Laden shooting when they killed Bin Laden.
I remember that. Was that 2011?
Was it? It was during Obama's.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe. I don't know. I thought I had that pulled up. But so those, Amber, are some famous breaking news announcement throughout the years. A lot that we didn't show. Of course, the Princess Diana announcement.
You're forgetting the biggest one. Off the Cuff with Adam Banks was able to break the news of the championship, the basketball championship, when coronavirus was hitting.
Yes.
Remember, we were able to break our own news.
Well, anytime you can break news on the air, there's always a rush because it's always a rush to get it out there.
Exactly.
And you want to be the first person to get it out there. And that's how important a news anchor is, because they are there to announce your news, and you want to hear it from somebody you trust, and you want to hear it from somebody you like. So back to the whole Bill Bryant situation going to WKYT. I think it's a win-win for him. These other stations better be very afraid because they've got themselves a good one. And I would love to get Bill Bryant on Off the Cuff.
Hey, Bill Bryant. Just don't ever do your impersonation of him again. He might.
Well, this is Bill Bryant with WKYT.
There went you guessed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these words. Stick with us.
The voice of the community. WLXU 93.9 LPFM, Lexington, Kentucky.
How do you think that segment went?
It's good. Sorry, this thing keeps getting caught in my hair.
It's okay.
There. No, it was good. Wow.
Just wondering.
If you have a discrimination complaint, you can file it online at Lex.
I'm trying to look at the feed. I don't know if there's anything going on if you're watching it or not.
Yeah, I don't see anything really.
Hey Lexington, why won't you get the safe, effective COVID-19 vaccine?
I'll do it for my neighbor.
I would do it for my family.
I'll do it for Sundays.
Sundays.
I'll do it for race days.
I'll do it for Sundays.
Sunday? I do it for Sunday.
Let's do this. When it's your turn, get vaccinated against COVID-19.
In a media climate where depth and diversity are increasingly hard to find, Radio Lex broadcasts independent voices of the community 24/7 in English on 93.9 FM and in Spanish on 95.7 FM. We can't do it without you. Support the voice of the people today. Visit radiolex.us/donate and support Lexington's community radio right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. The NBA Finals continue. I love the NBA Finals because that means the NBA is almost over.
Now look, if I would have said that, people would have believed me. They know you love basketball too much.
I like college basketball. Let me just reiterate that. I like college basketball. But we are going to talk about the NBA Finals because it is the main event for that sport.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we talk about the Super Bowl. We'll talk about March Madness. Well, we're going to talk about the future world champ. Could it be the Phoenix Suns or could it be the Milwaukee Bucks? Who knows? Because the series is now tied up 2-2. Let's just review since the last time we came on the air to talk about it. Game 1 was the only game that had been played. Game 2 was last Thursday on July the 8th. Devin Booker led all Sun players with 31 points, hitting 7 of his 12 three-pointers. The final score of that was Suns 118, Bucks 108. Game 3 was Sunday, July the 11th. The Greek Freak, which is Inti Kapuki, I can't say his name. He posted 41 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists in Game 3. And he became, talking about Inti Kapuki, pronouns pal, he became just the second player in NBA Finals history to total 40-plus points and 10-plus rebounds in consecutive games. The only other player to do that was Shaquille O'Neal in 2000. The final score of that game was Bucks 120, Suns 100. And Game 4 was yesterday, July the 14th. And the Bucks won that one, evening out the series 2-2, 109-103. So it's now tied up. Game 5 will be this Saturday, July 17th at 9 p.m. on ABC. And now it's anybody's ball game. 2-2. It's the best of 7 series. Who's going to get a championship? Is it going to be the Greek Freak? Is it going to be Devin Booker? Who's it going to be?
Oh, so is that really how it goes? So now look, you guys know I don't do basketball. So you play the best of 7, and who wins at the end of those 7 is the winner of the whole final?
Well, it's just the best of 7. So what's it take? 4? Whoever wins 4 first? Is that how it works?
So how do they get down to those 2 teams where it's just 2 that play the best of 7?
There's a whole playoff bracket, and they decide on who gets selected into this bracket based off your season performance, and then you just play the bracket out.
Okay.
And every game is best of 7.
Okay.
And so, and sometimes people have argued they would like to see college go to a best of 7 during March Madness to watch maybe the Final Four, like a best of 7, to get a true champion, because if the national championship college game played a best out of 7, think about how many championships Calipari would have, or Kentucky would have. Because we were clearly the better team in 2010 with John Wall. We were clearly the better team in 2011 against UConn when we got beat. We were clearly the better team in 2015 or 2014 when we lost to UConn. So, and we were clearly the better team in 2015 when we lost to Wisconsin. So, if there would have been a best of 7, I think that the results would always be a lot different. But I don't want it to ever go to like that for college because I love the one and done.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7. That's an awful lot of playing that we expect out of people who are still in school, trying to go with actual seasons. I guess I see why NBA does 7. These dudes get paid big bucks.
Well, and you also have to keep in mind the reason I like the one and done, the one game you're out, is because that's where the excitement comes from. That's where the bracket busting comes into play. That's what it's all about. If they ever went to a best of 7 series, that would really hurt my fandom in college basketball.
Well, it's too much pressure for everybody.
Well, if you have a lot of pressure going on, folks, why don't you roll down them windows if it is not raining in your area like it is in Lexington and enjoy Off the Cuff's Song of the Week. I've got a good one for you. It is a little indie rock, Tolly Haw with Good Day. Enjoy. We'll be back after the song.
Is my name. Come here and sit down. I'm so glad you even really truly came.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Paul Bill?
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Or something like that. But first I need to introduce my what and introduce my when. Its name I like to call it, likes to say it's nothing. It lives and breathes and it insists that it is something. It never liked to speak or run or walk or sleep or eat. It even thought that everybody got to take its seat.
She is.
She is?
Yeah.
You know where I want to go before we leave?
Wait.
Infinite Lady.
You want to go with her after the show?
Just grab one.
That's fine.
Save my Like a bee stung me, is what it felt like. But it wouldn't be. What is all this?
That noise?
No. What's going on out here? What is all that? That's what I'm saying. This is the stuff I see all the time. What's going on out there?
What is that?
I don't know. There's signs. Are they gonna turn that on? Is the water tank?
Do something really cool. I feel like we're about to watch. I don't have any idea. Alright, we're back on.
Back. Yeah, something's going on. Oh, they are.
I love having a window in the station because we're able to look out and see the beautiful scenery that's outside, but that also comes with always some action going on outside the window. And right now, in front of me, I can see out the window, they are doing something outside of the Gray Line station where it looks like they're about to do something really important, really cool, because a bunch of people are gathered around taking pictures. Amber,
And you know that's a good time when people are doing that.
I know, but I can't figure out what they're doing.
Well, you know, I see some people out there have sticks.
Yeah.
They're poking at the ground. Everybody has on, like, laminated badges.
But what are they doing?
Wouldn't it be so cool if these microphones would reach out there and we could just say, hey,
It would
y'all,
scare them.
what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, they do need to play the show over the Gray Line station. I don't know why they don't. But anyway, Amber, I want to update the audience before we take a quick break. I want to update the audience on my house.
Okay.
I have been telling people for a long time that I am building a house.
Wait, you're building a house?
I am, and that is currently still happening. I'm building the house, and it's supposed to be finished sometime at the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's around September something.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but Zillow is not a good app to have on your phone.
No, it's the devil.
It is, because it does nothing but tempt you.
Yeah, it's temptation.
And it makes you dream about just bigger and better things.
Exactly.
Because you're always looking, we are as human beings, we're always looking to better ourselves. And what better way to just one-up yourself in your life than to get a bigger house?
All I want's a house with a swimming pool. That's all I keep looking for.
I still can't believe your HOA won't allow you to.
No swimming pool.
Yes. That's what sucks about HOAs, is if you want a swimming pool, you can't put one in.
I know.
But I'll tell you guys, September, my house should be finished. If you've been on Zillow and you've been looking around, housing prices are ridiculous. People are still paying those ridiculous prices. I seen houses sell in 2014 for $180. Right now in 2021, that house that sold for $180 in 2014 is selling for $280 in 2021. That's $100,000 market value above the market value. That is insane. So imagine how many years, if you bought your house in 2014, you've been paying on it for 7 years. Okay, you already got 7 years worth of equity plus $100,000 more because the values went up so much.
I know.
So people are selling their houses like crazy.
Like hotcakes, baby.
Yes.
Everywhere you turn, house for sale.
But slapping these big $350,000 price tags on junk. I'm seeing houses, seriously, that ain't worth $150 going for $250.
I'm seeing houses that ain't worth about a nickel going for just outrageous prices. We're living in a time of everybody wants to flip houses and flop houses, and now there's people out there like you who are really actually trying to find just a place to live. And, you know, thankfully you got lucky, but there are a lot of people who did not.
$250 is the new $150.
I would say $3 is probably the new $150.
Unfortunately, it's going in that direction.
Do you really think, though, that it had anything to do with the lumber prices? Or do you think that people got so crazy from the pandemic, everybody just wants a new house? They want out of the space they had to stay in?
A mix of everything. I definitely think COVID is what got this all started, because interest rates started to get real low, and that's one reason they started raising prices.
Yep.
Because they got to make that money.
Got to get that money,
The interest rate will go down. Don't worry, they'll raise your house price. But that was one thing they started doing. And lumber was a reason. Lumber did go up. A lot of supplies did go up. But again, like you were saying, I think a lot of people were bored. So many people put their houses up for sale during COVID. And I think that the market was like, whoa, what's going on here? We need to really start raising prices so we can benefit from it.
Exactly.
Yes.
And apparently the rental properties took note as well.
But folks, if you're able, I would always hold on to my money, and I would just wait until the market softens. Because when you try to buy a house right now, you're going to be paying
hand over fist
for something that ain't worth it.
No.
I mean, seriously, I'm seeing houses for sale for $275, $280 that ain't worth $180, ain't worth $160.
I know.
And people are buying it. A real estate agent I talked to, she said, I have no idea where people are getting all of this money from. People have came into money. And I don't know if it's just all of this stimulus checks. I don't know if it's just all of this unemployment extra cash that people are getting. But she said that people are having no problem coming up with down payments.
Yeah.
Cash down payments.
Wow.
So where are people getting this money from? I don't think that the market's going to soften too much. I think
don't look for it in the next year.
I think that if anything, in the next year or two, prices will only decline a tad. I think a house right now that's selling for $300, I think in 2 years it's only going to. I think the only difference you're going to see is maybe $20,000. It's going to sell for $280.
Well, and we got to look at it from a standpoint of Lexington is growing. We've both been here for, me over 10, you almost 10. We got to admit, Lexington's different than when we first moved here, especially in the neighborhood that we live in. They're bringing all kinds of new stuff in. So, I think I agree with you on that. I think they might soften, a tad, but I think this is going to be our new way of life here.
Nikki on the show thread, she says, what about trying to buy a new car? Exactly, Nikki. I'm actually in the market for a new car as well. And it's ridiculous trying to go buy a new vehicle. Toyota Tacomas, 2021s right now, you cannot get them under $40,000. And 2019 Tacomas, they're selling for $35,000 to $38,000. That's 2 years old.
Well, I'm going to ask you the question that everybody's probably got on their mind right now. Are you crazy buying a house and a car all at the same time?
Well, it just so happened to be my situation. I have to have a house because my lease is coming up.
I know.
And then my car is tearing up and I have to get a new ride. So
for the nosy Nancys, we had to let them know.
Yeah, people probably think, oh, dang, this guy's
rolling in the
dough. New car, new house. Let them think, but that's definitely not what's happening. But folks, I am very excited to be moving into a new home. But we've got one more segment to go for you to enjoy right here on Off the Cuff, so stick with us. We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what happens at the recycle center or how traffic signals are programmed? Apply for the Community Environmental Academy. Over the course of a year, participants take an in-depth look at the inner workings of the Department of Environmental Quality and Public Works, and then design and implement a project that benefits Lexington's environment and the community. Applications are open through Friday, August 6th. More details at lexingtonky.gov/CEA.
I'll look into that.
Lexington Community Radio is proud to have the support of founding community partner and State Farm agent Deborah Hensley. Deborah believes in giving every member of our community a chance to let their voice be heard to unify and strengthen our city. To learn more, you can visit deborahhensley.com or call 276-3244.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also in studio with me. Last segment of the hour. This happened a while ago, but we haven't been able to talk about it on the show because we've had so much other things to cover, like breaking news from back in the 1800s. But there was a building collapsed in Miami, Amber. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Yes, unfortunately.
It happened back in June at approximately 1:30 a.m., and it was the Champlain Tower South, which was a 12-story beachfront condo building in the Miami suburb of Surfside, Florida. It partially collapsed, like a pancake collapse, okay? As of July the 12th, so that's just a couple of days ago, things could have changed, but the last time I looked was on July 12th. A total of 95 people are confirmed to have died, with 11 injured and up to 14 unaccounted for, okay, making it one of the deadliest building collapses in American history. On July 7th, authorities went ahead and announced that the objective of the search was transitioning from rescue to recovery. So they're no longer looking for bodies anymore. They're kind of coming to that realization of, okay, you're probably dead. Because when you are underground for 4 or 5 days without water or food, and you've got things on top of you crushing every organ in your body, you probably ain't going to make it. It doesn't look good. So now they've switched it from rescue to recovery. They're just trying to recover the bodies. And that the missing victims are already presumed dead. The Champlain Tower South building suffered a partial pancake collapse. Surveillance footage indicates that a large north-central section of the building collapsed first, which isolated a section at the northeast corner of the building. It collapsed approximately 9 seconds later. 55 of the 136 units in the building were destroyed.
Wow.
I stay in buildings sometimes that are very tall, high-rise buildings. I've been in them. The older I get, the more scared I am of heights.
Yeah.
So I usually am not very comfortable on high floors. I love staying on high floors because of the view. You can't beat the view.
Exactly.
But I'm always uneasy. But in this situation, being on the top floor might have saved your life.
Now, I'd say, I didn't look at it that way, but I'm actually going to agree with you on that one.
I mean, you got to think about the people who were on the bottom floor. They had no chance. Everything falls back onto you. Everything falls down onto you. You're done. And those on the top floor, that's not a good situation to be in, but you're still you're still in a better spot than the bottom floor people.
Exactly.
And how does that even work? How does a pancake collapse even work?
So I think if you look at it, there was structural damage to a subfloor near the swimming pool. I think it had been identified a few years earlier as being a major structural damage. I think, I've read a couple of different things, but it just apparently looked like, the pillars that, were actually holding the building up probably had, sustained a lot of weather-related issues, and, it's right there by the swimming pool. And pretty much what happens is, that pillar goes down, and then, just like it says with a pancake, everything just kind of comes down like an accordion, because you don't have that structure, that brace holding your structure up anymore. So you just kind of collapse like an accordion or a pancake coming down. So, think of a stack of pancakes, everything's very tight and neat on top of one another, and that's kind of what happens. And watching the footage, it's scary. And anytime you're in buildings like that, you think about, at least I do. I've been in really tall buildings, and I've thought before, what if this building collapsed? Because you do kind of feel somewhat claustrophobic in really tall buildings because the roofs aren't very high. They're not very high. And I like a good high roof because I don't like being claustrophobic at all. Well, I think the thing that hurt me so much about this, not only did all of these people lose their lives during the best time of their life, everybody's on vacation, you're near Miami Beach, Florida, what better place to be at? And to know that, this company knew, years ago that there was structural damage, major structural damage. I don't know how people sleep at night knowing that they're putting all of these people at some type of risk. And, I think that's the thing out of all of this, if people are searching for answers. The answer is, You know, we need to make sure that we hold people accountable. You know, if you sign off on something saying that it's safe for, you know, patrons to come into, you know, you need to be held accountable more than the building does.
Absolutely. People were just assuming that the building was safe, and we do that all the time when we live life. We just assume the bridges we go across won't collapse.
Because people get paid a lot of money to make sure those things are safe.
We assume that the elevators that we stand in aren't going to fall. We assume that the balconies that we walk onto in a high-rise building won't just break off. Just like walking into a high-rise building, we just assume that the structure of the building ain't going to fail.
Well, but I mean, isn't an assumption if you know that someone has, you know...
It's a good assumption.
It is.
It's a great assumption.
People have had to be trained to be able to do this.
It's an assumption that people should have. I think that's a healthy assumption. I think it would almost be unhealthy to constantly be worrying about, well, what if this building falls?
Like me.
What if it, you know, and of course it enters my mind, this building might fall, but the assumption is that it won't, and we're safe. And that's exactly what these people in Miami thought, and they had the right to feel that way because there's a bunch of people getting paid a lot of money to look at all of this stuff, cross every T, dot every I, and there were reports that come out saying that there were structural damage to the parking garage of this building. There were cracks that shouldn't have been there, and that the manager told several times people that this building is not safe and not suitable for people to be there, but they still let people come in. And unfortunately, a disaster like this happens, and there's nothing you can do about it now.
Can't go back and change it. Just hopefully we move forward with positive changes.
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for another episode of Off the Cuff. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you've liked this episode, you can listen to all of our previous episodes. What's that?
I don't know.
Okay, somehow some other show from the station was just transferred over to our time. Listen, folks, I was signing off early. We've still got 7 more minutes on the air before you can just pop your little show on to Off the Cuff. This is from 4 to 5. This is the hottest talk radio show in Lexington. So
well, now,
whatever that was.
Koji back in the day, he gonna shut the studio down, and they just did that to you.
Somebody was trying to, but you notice how I pulled it right back. But you can listen to all of our previous episodes, ladies and gentlemen, by subscribing to us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. You can follow Amber on social media at Ambu447. You can follow me, the host, on social media. I don't know what this song is. Stuff for the last 30 seconds have just went haywire here at the studio. I don't know what's going on, but you can follow me on social media at The Adam Banks. I don't know what this is, but ladies and gentlemen, what you're listening to is Off the Cuff. You can catch us next week from 4 to 5. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Subscribe on Spotify, YouTube. We're all over the place. Like our Facebook page and our Instagram at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Amber Turner. I'm Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. We'll see you next Thursday from 4 to 5.